guys, welcome back to Homestead 215. I am out here today. We're about 10 days or so away from it being officially fall. It's in the 60s right now. I'm actually a little chilly out here in my garden. I have some Luffa out here that needs to get harvested. This one right here. Now for Luffa, if you've never grown Luffa before, this is actually my first time as well. So I am learning as I go, but I'm going to give this a try. And from what I've researched, you have to wait until the Luffa, like when they first start growing and they're green and they're big, they're very, very heavy. And these now, like literally this is super lightweight. You have to wait till they're totally brown like this, and then that's when you know they're ready to harvest. I've got this one, and then I've got one over here that's not quite fully brown yet. I don't know if you can see that behind the fence here. It is not fully brown, so I'm probably gonna leave that for another maybe few days to a week. But for this one, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and harvest this one and get it cut into it, save the seeds, and then what you do is you hang dry the sponge material inside, and that's how you get it dry enough for you to be able to use it for cleaning purposes around your house, whether it's bathing, doing dishes. I'm gonna put some of them into little soaps, that kind of stuff. Okay guys, it is a few days later and I am back out here in the garden. I've got one more Luffa I'm going to harvest, and then we're going to get started on cutting these open, and I'll just try to show you that process of saving the seeds and also hanging the Luffas to dry so that we can get some sponges out of them. So here I have one more Luffa. I'm just going to harvest it. I'm just going to cut right above here to get it off the vine. And then we have this nice big Luffa. Really big. I can't even get it on the shot. There we go. So let's take these up and get these cut open. What you actually want to do with these now is just take them. This one, I don't know if it's fully grown and developed because it was pretty small, but I went ahead and harvested it. But if you listen, you can hear the seeds in there are already loose. They've already come out ready to be harvested basically. And that's what you want. So if you don't hear seeds, which I don't really hear, I hear a few maybe in here, but you actually need to separate the seeds from the sponge. So you're going to just pound it on the ground or on some kind of hard surface. And now listen. That just kind of loosens up the seeds, gets them ready to harvest. And it also helps to separate the skin, which we're going to peel off here in a second, from the sponge. So that way everything will be a little bit easier to harvest. And then let's do this one. There's only a few in there so far. Now. Okay, so that should be a little bit better, easier to harvest now. We want to break off one of these ends. Probably the end that was connected to the vine will be easiest to break off. And then those loose seeds that are in there should be able to just pour out into like a bucket. I have a bucket in here with other seeds, but I will be able to tell the difference between calendula and sunflower seeds and a Luffa seed because they're different sizes and they just look different. So I'm going to go ahead and just pour them in together, and I'll sort them out later because that's what I have out here quickly available to me. So I'm just going to use my snips, and I'm just going to cut this off, and it kind of just creates a hole in the top here, hopefully. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit more. It's not quite big enough. Let's cut that a little bit more. Okay, so I've got this one open, and this one's actually having a hard time pouring out seeds. This one was not fully developed, so I'm wondering if it's just they did not fully come apart from the Luffa. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel this one open. Okay, so there's some Luffa seeds that are coming out of here. And then this Luffa is just not developed enough, so I'm not going to even keep this one for actual Luffa purposes because it's just not developed. So I'm going to set that one aside and do another one. But I got at least a few seeds out of that. Some seeds from that. We're going to pour those in here. All right, so this loofah is almost fully peeled. I've got a little bit left that's really hard to get off. So my husband's actually going to get me a tote full of water, and I'm just going to soak these for a few minutes. That way the skin will hopefully come off a lot easier on this other one, and I can finish peeling off that one. So we will get that done and then keep going with the process. Okay, so we are letting these soak a little bit. And hopefully that will make it a lot easier to peel off the skins. So I don't know if you can see this spot right here. There's a little tiny spot. I'm going to actually just cut that spot off. Sometimes it leaves behind some sap spots that you can hopefully wash off with water. And if they don't come off with water, then it could just be a bad spot on it. So we're just going to cut that off. So when I make sponges out of it, it doesn't have a gross brown spot on it. All right, I'm going to see if that's enough for that one. That did help get the skins off a little bit easier on the one I was needing to finish. I went ahead and I've cut this up a little bit because I had to cut out some bad spots, but I was able to get all the skin off, so we are good with this one. Unfortunately, with this other one, I think it had already gone past being good. It was starting to get too hard, and there was a lot of moldy spots, so I was just not able to even use anything from this one, unfortunately. You can see I tried to start peeling it, and I don't know if you can see that spot right here where it's like whiter than the rest, right here. It's actually because it's dried so much, it's starting to almost mold it. This part is wet from the water and it's softened up, but this part, like this middle core, is like hard as a rock. Will not soften up with water. So unfortunately, I think this one is just, I had waited too long to harvest it. This is my first time growing loofah, and so I didn't really know at what point to harvest. I heard when they turned brown, and this one turned like tan for a while, but then it got darker brown, so I thought, well, I'll just go with the darker brown. So I kind of waited probably too long. I should have probably gone when it was more yellowish brownish, like this one back here, which is when I harvested it. But then also this one wasn't even viable either. So I think you have to find a middle ground between when it's just turning tan and before it gets this dark, because I think it was just too far gone at that point. So unfortunately, this one, which was my biggest one, is not gonna work. And then I had a lot of spots on the other one that were, you can see the inside, kind of the same situation. There was a few spots where it was too hard and had some moldy spots like that, so I'm not going to use those spots. I cut all that out. So this is what I still have left that is usable, good loofah. I haven't cut this one up yet, but I have some smaller ones. I can put that like in a soap or something, and then I can save this one at this size if I want to, just to use it in the shower or for my kids to use it. This one's more kid size probably. They actually need to hang dry now, especially since I got them so wet. They need to hang dry for several days, and then I will take them in and wash them real good with some soap and water, and then squeeze them out real good. And at that point, they're fine to use and be sponges for soaps and different things that we're going to use around the house. So not a huge harvest for now. I do have more on the vine, so I'm hoping I have time before it gets too cold to get those harvested. And I'm going to pay attention. They're green right now, so none of them are even browning yet. So hopefully here in the next week or so, if they start to brown, I'm going to try not to wait too long so I can hopefully get a little bit more. You can harvest them when they're green, but I've heard it just makes it a lot harder to get a decent sponge material out of it because it's not quite to that point yet. But I might experiment and see what happens. So for now, let's go hang these up. Alright, so you can see I've got these hung up here. I just used my little laundry clips to clip through the little holes that are in them. Now, they are pretty wet still. Like you can see if I squeeze them out, they're still dripping. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a good squeeze, and hopefully that will help them dry out faster. Alright, so we're just going to leave these here for a few days. Thought I'd show you a few of my loofahs that I still have. This is a really small one. It probably won't be viable. But I do have a few that are hanging here still, green ones. This one's maybe starting to brown up a little bit, so that one's probably going to be my next one that I can harvest. Got one over here, hiding back behind that. That's going to be ready soon. And then I have several. You can walk through here. Give you a little view of the garden here too. I've got several on the fence over there, if you can see those hanging. It's bright over here, so sorry about the lighting. So I've still got several I can harvest here soon.